That's where the knife bends right there, and he reaches for the other one. Had we not canvassed store by store, which is an obvious thing to do during an investigation, we would not have known about that particular victim. We did not know about this particular victim until we went to the store and asked if they had video, and the store owner advised us that not only did they have some video, but one of their employees had been attacked. I'm going to turn it over now to our Stearns County Attorney, Janelle Kendall, to give you a comprehensive visual of the other video that we have.
Right down the hall from Unique Electronics is Northwoods Candy Emporium. You can go ahead and roll that one. You can see people running by. This one again is in slow motion. Again, this is they're trying to find shoplifters and store thefts. They're not designed for this, but you can see people running by. An employee comes out. This is about 40 to 50 feet down the hall from what you just saw at Unique Electronics, where he actually goes into the store and stabs the employee. This is right down the hall. So let's look at this again. Because you can see what's going on, that they are hearing the hollering and screaming and yelling as he's coming down the hallway and engaging people. Sometimes he's asking them, "Are you Muslim?" Sometimes he's just stabbing them. And as I said in the letter, these stabs are to the face, the neck, up in the upper part of the body. One is in the side of the head. So you can see people reacting to this, and what the witness statements say is that there's a lot of screaming and yelling. People are saying, "Take cover." You can hear the store doors coming down. And when you watch this the third time, you can see up in the window, that would be on this side, you can actually see the knife in his hand through the clear window on the side here. There's the knife. Going back to this diagram then, this is Unique Electronics, and up higher is the Northwoods Candy Store as you're going into Target. So about halfway up there in the 910, there's a father and a son that are 910 right there outside Unique Electronics, where he stabs both of them and then goes up to the Candy Emporium. The Target doors were already closed, the glass doors there as you come into Target, because they heard the commotion going on in the mall and had already closed those doors by the time he got there. So he headed off toward Bath and Body Works and Macy's. You have a victim that's coming inside the doors there that is also stabbed right before Adon approaches Officer Falconer, who is marked as number 13 here. He's inside Bath and Body Works. He's already made his purchase. He hears these loud noises coming from behind him, and he turns around, and as he comes to the edge of the store, Adon approaches him and asks him if he's Muslim. He says no. Adon does not stab him, does not move forward toward him in any way, but as he turns away from Officer Falconer, he observes the knives in both hands and describes them as in each hand and the knife blade up against the wrist. So he immediately tells him, "Stop, I'm a police officer, put down the weapons," and Adon takes off into Macy's. Next picture. Next picture. Next one.
You got there's a
I've got it. Okay. This is the area of Macy's where he runs in, and we're going to look specifically at what happens in this corner, because as you see in Macy's, there's it's mainly clothing that's down in this area, but you're going to see him come in this way. The 3 videos that we have, again, are designed for store security. So you have one that's facing this way. You have another one that's primarily looking at this area of checkout, and we have blurred out the photos so that you can't see who the people are there just doing their business and Macy's and working at Macy's that night. But you're going to see they're over in here, and then you're going to see the encounter happen primarily in this area. There we go. The red are where the bullets and the bullet casings are found. As I said, there were 10 shots fired. 6 of them hit Adon. Number 1 is where the body ultimately lands. Number 2 is the straight knife that is found near his body, and you'll see in the videos he has that in his hand until way at the end. Number 3 is the bent knife that you saw in the Ultimate Electronics. So we've got that left back in there. Also his eyeglasses that he was wearing are somewhere back in there. But as you'll see with the round of red dots down here, this is where the first shots are fired. Then you're going to see him go around this circle again, and you're going to see additional shots fired as he comes at the officer the second time. And what you're going to see from the video camera coming in this way is you'll see that he comes at the officer the second time with the knives in his hands, and then he starts actually backing into the bullets, and you'll see that on the video. We're going to show the video 3 times. I'm going to let you watch it the first time and then point out the things that correspond with this diagram. These videos will all be available to you when we're done here. You'll first see a Don run in and Officer Falconer immediately behind him with his gun drawn. See him getting down on the floor. Falconer's got his gun pointed at him. He's down on the floor. Up he comes. First shots have been fired. Officer Falconer is back up. And you'll see Adon start to move. See the officer display his badge to the people who are there, and what the witnesses tell us is that continually during this time he's saying, "I'm a police officer, drop your weapons." 12 separate witnesses describe that and describe seeing the knives in his hands. See, he's crawling on the floor, advancing, and he's up, and he's at the officer again. You can see the knife still in his hands. Considered decision was made whether to show this portion of the video. To show this for this reason. He still has the knife in his hands, and as you're going to see, he's going to get up a third time. What the witnesses tell us that happens after this video is not only does he get up on all fours here, but he goes a little farther down, and there's one of the big store displays, and he tries to climb up on that store display and stand up for a third time. That sign then falls over, and he falls on the ground at that time. Let's watch that again. Again, the witnesses are telling us that they can see the knives in his hands because of the quality of the video and what it's not aimed at. It's aimed down at that till that's in that area, so you're seeing things that are off in the corner. But I want to point out as they come into the other screens what we can see here. Coming in, and then here's Falconer behind him. And you can see Falconer coming up there. And quite quickly he does get down on the ground. He's still got a knife in each hand, but he is down, and then very quickly up and at the officer. The officer describes it backpedaling so fast as he came at him that was why he fell over. But at this point, reacting as a peace officer. He continues to have his gun pointed at him, but he reaches in his pocket and pulls out his badge. He's in plain clothes. Mr. Adon is in a security uniform. Some of the things that the witnesses describe are we have a person in a security uniform, but we have a person in plain clothes who's shooting at that person. So he displayed his badge so that people could understand, as he was stating to them repeatedly, I am a police officer. And now circling around again, as you can see him moving on the floor toward him before he gets up. Still with the knives in his hands. And charges at him again. And as you see this picked up, you can see the shots being fired, but then he actually starts to back into the bullet. As stated in the letter, 2 of the gunshots to Mr. Adon are in his back as he is backing there toward the officer, and you see how close he gets to him. And again, much debate about whether to show this portion of the video. This is not something that we would normally show. But in the interest of transparency, this is all the video that we have of Mr. Adon inside the mall, and we're releasing it all to the public. It also shows that he still has the knife in his hand. They say what the witnesses tell us after he goes off the video is that he tries to get up again using the sign as balance. No further shots were fired here. The shots were fired when he gets up the first time. When he gets up and comes at the officer the second time, there were no shots fired after that. No shots fired here. As is also noted in the letter, we have 120-some people responding from 13 different agencies. Many of those were Gold Cross Ambulance. Mr. Adon was provided medical assistance. After this happened, officers were there in about 4 minutes, and the ambulance arrived shortly thereafter. And looking at an authorized use of deadly force, as you can see in these videos, we have Adon charging Officer Falconer twice with knives in his hands, and even a third time, still with the knife in his hand, trying to get toward him. At this point, Officer Falconer is stationed right there at the end of Macy's because he knows there are still more people outside in the mall. You can see the people down below here that are watching this. The statements that they give, again, there are 12 witnesses there that are talking about what the officer is saying, what Adon is doing, what they can observe with the knives in his hands. And through the first set of shots, they're actually still standing there before many of them leave. They describe the display of the badge, but then you can actually see that in the video. And here again, why I analyze this both as the reaction of a licensed peace officer as well as an average citizen. This is the reaction of a licensed peace officer. And again, these videos will be made available to you when we're done here.
I just want to add one thing before Mayor Kleiss comes back up to give his closing remarks. I've heard from various sources, from people, whether they be advocates or whomever, with respect to police reform, that the 21-foot rule should probably not be taught anymore. And what that is a training tactic for law enforcement, so that if a person is coming at you to attack you with an edged weapon, a knife, or what have you, as you can see, it doesn't take very long. And I would venture to guess that that was probably more than 21 feet between the attacker and Officer Falconer when he first confronted him inside Macy's. And I want you to pay very close attention to that part of it for that reason only. 21 feet can be closed very, very quickly, as you just saw multiple times, and you will see again. So to those people who want to eradicate the 21-foot rule, I say no. And I'll turn it over to Mayor Kleiss.
Thank you, Chief. The reason we are holding this press conference, or held this press conference today, is because, as we've said from the beginning, within hours after the attack took place, that we will be transparent and we'll have information when it's available. It is available today, and we also said on that day we would not release any information that would in any way jeopardize the investigation. From this day forward, the investigation continues with the FBI. The FBI, all questions and inquiries as that investigation continues from the FBI should be referred to the FBI. As of now, the St. Cloud Police Department and the County Attorney's Office, that piece is complete. Our folks stand ready to assist if necessary, but it is now in the hands of the FBI. As the county attorney has mentioned, the videos that you have seen will be available outside of this room at the conclusion of this press conference, in addition to the written comments of Stearns County Attorney Janelle Kendall also. I can tell you the response, not only the response of the 127 first responders who were there that night, but that continued response and investigation of the hundreds of individuals who have been part of this investigation since that in the last 19 days, in the last less than 3 weeks, has been a tremendous support and collaboration. The work between the St. Cloud Police Department, Stearns County Attorney's Office, and the FBI has been coordinated with tremendous collaboration. And I want to thank that collaboration and the folks that you see here today in that work that will continue. I can tell you, as a community, as I mentioned from the outset, this community is a strong community. And this community is a safe community. And it's a safe community because of the men and women who, on every day, you've seen in the images that you've seen in the response, but I can tell you the commitment that our law enforcement has for this community, our first responders. We should be very proud of that effort and the work that they have done. They have clearly demonstrated, as they have many times before the last 19 days, their commitment to this community. But they clearly demonstrated that professionalism and their dedication to what they do. Very few people are willing to raise their hands and do what they do. They do it for our community, and we are grateful for what they do. We are grateful that they were there that night. We are very grateful that that off-duty police officer was in the mall that night. And this investigation, as we conclude now, any further questions, please refer to the FBI. Thank you for being here today.